Hello and welcome to the Comic-Spiracy, episode 316 for the week of July 11th, 2017. My name is Ryan Higgins, who's here with me this week.
Brock Sager.
Just because you talk fast doesn't make this go any faster,
Oh,
man.
it's going to be fast.
No. Toby.
And Charlie.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello. I'm okay.
Bryce is here, but he just recorded a Bryce briefly. He is not going to be on this episode, though. He has to leave, unfortunately. And also, he did not see Spider-Man Homecoming, so he doesn't want any spoilers.
I've been, what's the opposite of homecoming? Kicked out of the home. I've been kicked out of the home by not seeing this amazing, incredible movie, and I don't want to be spoiled on anything, so I'm going to get the fuck out of here when they start talking about it, but I'll be here until they start talking about it.
Well, we do have a few things to talk about. Before we get into some of the news and Spider-Man, we have some random store stuff to talk about here. First of all, we are very close to the store moving. If you guys don't know, we are moving July 26th. Will be our final day here at our current location. So we're looking at basically 2 weeks till our final day here. So if you're in the area and want to swing by, we'll be there.
We'll be here.
We'll be here. We'll be closed for a few days and then back. Oh, sorry. And then...
Oh, I'm pretty sure we'll be at both.
We'll be at both. Yeah. And then August 2nd will be our first official day at our new location on El Camino in Sunnyvale. So if you follow us on Twitter or the Facebook group, you should see that. Yeah, it's coming real soon. So we'll have 2 more episodes recorded here at the store. We're going to be gone. No episode going out that week. No 0.5 either.
What?
No episode,
Why not?
Why not?
No episode going out the week of the move.
He didn't answer us.
Because I will have no time to actually post it or anything like that. So there's just no way.
Takes you 2 seconds.
No chance in hell.
No repeat of the most popular episode ever?
No.
That's good. That's just good business. I mean,
You should just re-release that episode on like YouTube or something that week.
Well, I think that I think you guys might have some competition for most downloaded episode with the last one we just put out.
Yeah. So we'll talk. We still have a few weeks for the store move stuff. So again, we'll talk more about that. Also, if you're hearing this episode, hopefully you've already either heard or downloaded a very special episode that went up this morning. So we record this Tuesday night. So we're gonna. Whoa, Bryce just threw some devil horns up at some kid.
no, it was like it was devil horns.
Are you going to scare the crap out of the baby that just walked up?
We've recorded very impromptu, kind of out of nowhere interview with DC Comics writer Scott Snyder, writer of Batman, All-Star Batman, Witches, American Vampire, and the upcoming Dark Knight's Metal series, which is the first big major event as part of Rebirth. He had reached out to a bunch of people. He's gonna call up stores for the midnight release, and he was saying how he's gonna do like some podcast stuff. And I was like, "Hey, do a podcast if you want. Love to have you on." And he sent me a message and said, "Yeah, I'm free Sunday night. This was just like I'm free in a couple hours if you want to do this." So I was like, "Fuck, let's go." So I thought it was going to be 10, 15 minutes. We were like, yeah, we'll talk for a few minutes. Ended up being like an hour and 10 minutes.
That's okay. Maybe it was just 10 or 15 minutes of you talking.
Yeah. The rest was
maybe. Oh, yeah.
No, have you listened to it?
Yeah.
It's like 1 minute of Higgins talking and fucking Scott Snyder going. It's awesome.
So it's your favorite episode then?
What, of Scott Snyder talking? Yeah.
Of him not talking.
Of me not talking?
I like Higgins talking sometimes. But that was fucking awesome. It was really great.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about everything from his kind of writing style and techniques and where he gets his ideas, and we talked about politics, and we talked about Marvel and event comics.
I didn't get there, so I should reserve my praise.
No, you'll like it. We talked about a lot of some of the retailer aspects of everything, and because again,
hey, I have a question. Do you think that they get so I subscribe to a bunch of Liverpool podcasts. So I know Liverpool players get media training, as a lot of professionals in various professions do.
Yeah.
Do you think that they get media training?
Probably a little bit. I know at one point. This is a common thing where creators don't know when stuff is solicited because they're already working
should we
on this.
Explain media training for podcast listeners?
Just people. I mean, how to talk publicly. Right. Yeah. And not
just in case people don't know what the fuck we're saying.
Not put your foot in your mouth and be a racist asshole or say something horrible.
Training that I've never had. But so you think a little bit, maybe?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sure at the level where these guys are. Yeah. But he says on the podcast, that we recorded, he's like, yeah, I'm very open and very upfront about this stuff. And he goes, I don't care about spoilers. I'm happy to talk about anything. And there was a point where he was talking about some of the creative teams, and I'm like, well, and I was telling him this, well, just so you know, not all these creative teams have been announced, so be careful what you say, because I don't want you, I don't want you getting in trouble and jumping in front of DC's press releases.
But there was one point where you wanted him to possibly say a creative team, so you could know. But you held your tongue.
Wait, so why did you? Why? I mean, that's kind of cool. Why did you stop him? Like,
well, because a lot of times and this is a common thing, creators don't follow solicitations because they're working months ahead of those.
Right.
So, like, he knows who all the creators are, but he didn't realize that we don't know. And so I'm kind of in between. I know the solicitation stuff first.
Right, but isn't that, his bad and not your bad? And, like, doesn't that only get more hype for DC and your podcast?
I don't want him to call back.
Yeah, I don't want to.
No.
And you also don't want DC to make him get... So... Him having the freedom to call up Ryan and have an interview is great. You don't want DC to start saying,
you can't.
You need to go through us first so we can give you a list of topics to stay away from.
There's no way that we have enough. No. There's no way that we have more than one listener. And there is no way that listener is going to hurt sales so much.
So how in the hell did yours get downloaded?
They have all sorts of stuff there.
Just me.
In theory,
over and over,
basically holding stuff back for Comic-Con.
Sarcasm aside, I hear what you're saying. Okay.
So if you haven't heard it, go check it out. Interview with Scott Snyder should be up on the RSS feed if you subscribe. If you just go to the Geekbox or comicspiracypodcast.com, it's up there. And yeah, a lot of great feedback already.
And, he actually would like to be back on because you neglected to do a Secret Origin.
What's funny? We talked about that before we started recording, and I totally was going to, and then we just went right into. We sort of immediately started talking about metal, kind of accidentally, and then it just kept going. So maybe Secret Origin next time.
You fanboyed a little and forgot.
Wait, I have a question, though, before you move on.
Yeah.
In case you're trying to move on without letting us have questions. So is your secret man-boy crush now more Snyder or Jeff Johns? Because forever it's been Johns.
Well, it's always Johns. Johns is in my heart. But, I love Scott Snyder. He's a great writer. I've loved his stuff for a long time.
Well,
it's funny. We were talking about Tom King, and I was like, I really like Tom King, too. Like, Tom King's like the new crush.
And
right?
the worst part was, Scott's like, I hang out with him and his family and blah, 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 blah. And you're like,
no, fuck you. Bring Tom King back.
Stealing
to hashtag bring Tom King back to Marvel.
Please?
Yes, please.
Make mine Tom King.
Make Tom King great again.
He's already great.
Not as much as he would be.
Please go download that episode and let me know what you think. I'd love to do more of these.
That was fucking out of nowhere, by the way.
It was
so
really
awesome.
Yeah, it really was.
Really awesome.
Cool. Thank you. Some sad news before we move on to our Spider-Man talk. We are going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming for pretty much the rest of the podcast. But yes, I had a lot of questions about the new Warriors casting next week.
Wait,
next week
what?
We're going to talk
No,
about that.
come on. We have to talk about the Disney Channel casting.
Next week.
Wait, what?
Next week. There was some sad news. That was last week. Where
was it bad Disney casting?
No, actual sad news.
Oh.
Joan Lee, the wife of Stan Lee, passed away at the age of 95.
That's terrible.
They'd been married since 1947.
Mm-hmm. Holy
and married a very long
frick.
time. Yeah, a very, very long time. Marvel had a nice tribute to them. DC and obviously a lot of other comic companies kind of reached out to Marvel and to Stan Lee about this. So, hopefully Stan's okay as well. When you get older, a loved one passes away, unfortunately, there was a lot of times where...
Yeah, those stats are crazy.
Yeah. So, as much as Stan Lee and Jack Kirby are responsible for the creation of Marvel Comics, the story that he always tells is that it's all Jones. It's all her. He was going to quit. He was going to leave, and she was the one that was like, no, do this, and if you want to, make it your own thing. And without her... The Fantastic Four and Marvel Comics would not exist without her telling him to do it, basically. So, Jack and Sam may have wrote it and drew it, but she's the one that made him do it. So, if you really want to say, who created Marvel Comics, it's her.
He did just rhyme, didn't he?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
I heard in the swinging 60s, Joan actually recommended Stan to get into the variant game.
Really? What?
You didn't hear this?
No.
That she said, like, you should be selling comics, like, with different covers but the same inside material. I mean, it was the swinging 60s, so...
I believe you.
Well,
Is that true?
That would be foolish of you. Yeah. That's not true at all.
Well, that would probably have been okay. But no. So very, very sad. But hopefully...
Sorry.
Laughing?
Yeah, my own jokes when nobody else laughs. It's
yeah.
Oh, God, sometimes they're funny.
Funnier in your head.
Sometimes they're not funny, and usually they're not funny, but sometimes they're funny.
Well, this time it wasn't funny. Fortunately, very sad situation. So
Well, before Bryce leaves us, I wanted to get his reaction to the fact that these Bryce's Right shirts are now out in the wild.
Oh, yes. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, what the...
As far as I knew...
Crazy-ass Twitter account, Higgins.
As far as I knew, the original
You think that
ones...
it would have said Bernie is right.
Well, they canceled them, but I guess they ended up shipping out the ones that didn't cancel their order.
Myself.
So it seems like some of you got the original Bryce is Right shirt, the mistake version. So you got a rare alternate version.
So I did.
Oh, you got one.
But because I was out of town
Yeah.
and didn't get a chance to check my email and cancel my order within the 48 hours that I had to cancel it.
Oh, so you have one or it's coming? Did you get it yet?
I got the shipment notice before I got back to my computer.
Oh, okay.
So, I will have a Bryce is a giant
Soon.
penis, or whatever that accurate quote is. No, so
A collector item.
yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so I will have that at some point in time. I'm going to order a proper one, but
Yeah, you
we
have
have-
until the 21st?
I think so.
well, we had 20 days and it's only been a week.
Yeah, so I think it's the 21st is when
Yeah.
those finish up. So
So anyway, I think
not too much longer.
I think that's why.
But yep. So some people are getting the defective ones, but I guess that's cool too.
No, they're not defective. That's how they were
the
intended
variant.
to be.
It's the variant.
It's the variant.
The variant, and you're just so angry. You're just like, God, these shirts are selling way more than they should be.
Well, the problem was we had
propping them. Bryce is right. It's propping themselves up.
the
on
problem
these
is we
fake
had to order
shirts
50
that
of
say-
the main one
that
in
say
order to
penis.
get. We had to order 50 of the main one in order to get 5 of the variants. So
And somehow these shirts are selling like gangbusters, and you're just so angry, but
I'll
taking
throw
all the
mine on
money.
eBay.
You're just like,
No, I'm just waiting for one of them to get flipped on eBay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for now.
That's when you know
Original
it's-
misprint. Bryce is right. Recalled.
yeah, wait for it.
Hot.
Oh, I'm just so angry. That
MIB,
this-
mitten
that
bag.
This shirt says penis, and it's selling so well for me, and I'm collecting all the profits. Oh, and by the way, I can move now. That's nice.
Sure. Okay, so we're going to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming now, Bryce. Sorry.
Oh.
Stop being a dad.
All right.
Be like Brock and ditch your kids and go see a movie. It's better that way.
I didn't ditch my kids. I went home and put them to bed, and then I went and saw the movie.
You left them alone in their bed.
No,
What the fuck? You didn't hire a babysitter.
no. My brother's girlfriend was there, and my mom was showing up in like 10 minutes.
That seems legit. All right,
they were-
ladies and gentlemen.
Bryce, there is if you want to hear more of Bryce, though, there is the Bryce Briefly, which is up right now. Not only do you have the Scott
This is
Snyder
a
interview,
It's like
brand new segment.
it's
Yeah.
like a story time thing. It's not even a briefly.
not only do you have
Whoa, spoiler alert.
not only do you have an interview with Scott Snyder,
No, we have to advertise it because it's Patreon.
you have a Bryce Briefly and a Spider-Man review this week. How insane!
Injured.
How
Yeah, he
insane!
said it was damaged.
Now that that's over,
Yeah.
let's talk about Spider-Man Homecoming,
Whoa, give me-
because all of us saw it.
15 seconds.
And that ending, man, I just can't believe.
Fuck you.
When Darkhawk showed up, I was like, oh my god!
Darkhawk? What? I love Darkhawk.
Get out of here.
Bye.
But Darkhawk was really cool though.
Bye, Bryce. Okay, now that Bryce is gone, we can really talk about Darkhawk. No. Let's talk about Spider-Man: Homecoming here. So this is an interesting movie, as I'm sure everyone listening knows. But in case you don't, this is the first, maybe only, kind of co-production between Marvel and Sony and Disney. This is made by Sony, but the Marvel and Disney stuff are all over this movie. Like, I thought we'd get a few minutes of Tony Stark. They basically they show a ton of stuff from Civil War, Avengers Tower, Happy Hogan. So I had no idea that both Happy Hogan and Pepper Potts were in this movie during the
Yeah, I didn't know either.
I knew about
previews.
Happy. I did not know about
Pepper.
Pepper.
They weren't even in the last couple Iron Man and Avengers movies. What the hell are they doing in this? It's super random. I'm really surprised they brought, because as far as I knew, they weren't going to. They didn't want to be in them anymore. Because didn't they kill Happy?
No, he was injured, but he didn't die.
Oh, was he injured? Okay, because then they never show him after that, right?
Well, he appeared in Iron Man 3, and then we haven't really seen them since Iron Man 3. And from what I understand, it all had to do with contract negotiations and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing Sony had a much happier contract negotiations than Disney.
Yeah, it's so weird. So weird that they were in this movie. But that aside, let's get down to the kind of the plot, and then we'll kind of a little plot synopsis here, and then we'll talk about our thoughts of it. So this is probably the most accurate portrayal of Spider-Man we've seen on film. I think I like Tobey Maguire a whole lot, but it was very much it wasn't as accurate to the original stories as maybe I would have liked. I think parts of it were, but obviously he seems a little bit older. They very quickly move him out of high school and into a little more traditional adult Peter Parker. So there are definitely elements of this movie that are very different than the comics, but I felt overall it was a good.
So I have a hard time calling it the most accurate, but so this is what I always say about this movie when I talk to people. They got the core of all the characters correct.
Correct. It was the most accurate in feeling, if not in continuity, if not in powers. This felt much more like a Spider-Man movie than the rest of the movies. And again, I really like the first two Tobey Maguire movies. I don't hate the third one. It's not great, but I don't hate it.
It's because you love that dance number in the middle.
It's so good.
No, it's not.
Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are terrible, but especially 2. But this felt right. And again, it is very different in elements, but I feel the feeling of this movie felt right.
They like much with how Walking Dead, the TV show, captures the essence of Walking Dead,
even though
there's some changes.
Varies, yeah.
I think that this movie captured the essence of Spider-Man and the essence of Peter Parker, and just his world, especially at making it very kind of grounded in the sense of you felt like you were in New York in the sense of not the New York that everybody knows, which is the Empire State Building in Times Square and all this. It's Bronx. It's the Bronx. It's Brooklyn.
Where people actually live.
It's the neighborhoods that people actually live in. So.
And where Spider-Man normally is. He's not swinging around the Eiffel Tower every day, right? Eiffel Tower, Jesus. Statue of Liberty every day, right? I mean, he's in the suburbs, not the suburbs. He's in the residential, the neighborhoods areas more so. York. Yeah. Again, classic Spider-Man stories. When they cast Vulture, I was not sure how that was going to go. I like Michael Keaton a lot, but Vulture's kind of it's kind of a weird throwaway villain, and I really like the way they changed Vulture in this to fit in with the Marvel movies, become a little more relatable. His reason for being a villain, and again, it's shown very early on. He's not just like some angry old dude.
It's the opening scene of the movie.
Yeah, the opening scene is that he's part of damage, he's cleaning up the destruction from the first Avengers movie, and Damage Control, which is in the comics a kind of a group of people that clean up after the superhero battles. In this, it's like a government-run agency partnered with Tony Stark. And they're like, nope, this is all this Chitauri stuff. This is government property now. You guys all get out of there. So they were fired, but they did have like some elements left. They were forced out. They were forced out by the government.
They were forced out after he had already secured a contract. Right. It was basically this other agency sweeping in on something he had already secured the rights to, and telling him, not only do you not have the rights to this anymore, they didn't compensate him in any way.
And they're taking everything that that they had.
That's the easiest way to make a villain.
Get the government involved.
Just take it away from them and don't reimburse them for anything. So
the kind of the main focus of the villain plot in this movie is that Vulture, and they never even call him Vulture. There was like a reference at one point later in the movie about the Vulture, but they never call him anything really, just Dooms. He created him and his gang of former wrecking crew guys now and salvagers now are. Take a little bit of this alien technology that they were able to get their hands on, and they kept a small part of it, and they were able to expand on that and build all these weapons. He built the flying vulture suit thing, and they basically became bank robbers for all intents and purposes. Except they weren't robbing banks; they were
special. They were alien tech weapon dealers. Like they were creating this alien hybrid tech stuff and selling it.
Yeah, and they were breaking into secure facilities,
but they were breaking in to get more, to make this stuff. So
correct.
And for the most part, they were flying under the radar because when they would go rob it, it would be during transport, not when everything had been cataloged and stored yet. It was all get in, get out. Nobody's the wiser.
Yeah. When they were still, because it's funny. The cleanup of New York was something they kind of left out of any of the Marvel movies, because again, people made fun of Batman v Superman. I'm sorry, of Man of Steel about the damage that was done to Metropolis in that movie. But again, there was significant damage done to New York during Avengers 1, and they just sort of gloss over that.
Well, they kind of touch on it in like some of the tech hunting stuff that
not Civil War. No, Civil War touches on it very briefly.
But like it's more
Shield,
like Shield
does a little bit.
It's like Shield and like that mini that short that they did about the
but
whatever. But there's this is the first time they've actually addressed. Yeah. And I thought that it was really good that they addressed the Avengers stuff that happened, and then they addressed the stuff that happened in Civil War.
Yeah,
from Peter's perspective versus from the perspective that we got beforehand.
Yeah. So we're Peter Parker rolls into this. He's is he junior? Sophomore?
So he's 14.
15. And the normal gang of people he hangs out with are, for the most part, Representative Flash Thompson. They call her Liz. The only Liz I know in Spider-Man is Liz Allen. To the best of my knowledge, she is not this character in the movie is not a character from the comics.
No, I think they did it intentionally to make you think it was Liz Allen.
Yeah.
And it was very intelligently done that way, because longtime comic fans had certain things they assumed because of her name and that kind of thing. So.
There's a kid named Ned who, again, his best friend is Ned. Might be Ned Leeds. They never really call him by name. But it also bears more than a passing resemblance to Miles Morales' friend from the Spider-Man comics. Like I said, Flash Thompson. So, and there's other people that they're hanging out with, but they never really call them by their names until the very end. Again, we're talking spoilers, so it's okay to spoil this here. There's a girl kind of negging him through the whole thing that you think kind of likes him, doesn't like him. I don't even know.
Michelle is what they said.
Her name is Michelle.
Yeah, they said Michelle, and she goes, "Oh, I go by MJ."
Right at the very end, she's like, "Oh, my friends call me MJ." And again, she's not a white girl with red hair, right? So this is not Mary Jane, but this is sort of a new twist on that character. But again, we don't.
Well,
there's never like a love interest. There's no. I mean, Liz is kind of his love interest in the movie.
Well, the thing is
he's pining for her.
He's pining for her. It's shown right at the end, very briefly, that Michelle is pining for Peter.
Yeah. So a little bit of a love triangle.
So like the way I kind of view the Michelle thing, they're hedging their bets right now.
Right.
They could completely and totally go, okay, she's MJ of this universe, or they could pull back from that depending on people's reactions.
Yeah. That's Zendaya is the actress. She does a bunch of the.
She did a great job in the character that she played.
I mean, again, we'll talk specifics on characters here in a bit, but I didn't have a problem with any character in this movie almost.
The only character I think I had a slight problem with was Flash Thompson.
Oh, he was great.
Well, the thing is, he was great, but
he's an asshole.
He's an asshole, but he wasn't the jock that everybody's known Flash Thompson for being.
No, but
the thing is it's fine because the portrayal,
modern jock, man.
Well,
everybody's nerd now.
Well, right. Why would Flash Thompson hang out with Peter Parker? Right? Why would they ever be in the same circle together?
And that's
right?
the thing is like I was okay because the presentation that was given was funny and it was hilarious and it was very well done.
Right.
People who are more traditionalists are going to be a little probably put off by it, but
whatever.
I mean, yeah.
So again, these Spider-Man is tracking down these guys that are selling weapons. I'll be a very, very broad overview of the plot here, so we don't have to worry about specifics. Tony Stark's like, yeah, cool, your suit's awesome. It has all this Iron Man tech in it. You've got an AI.
No, he doesn't tell me as an AI.
Well, he doesn't tell me as an AI, but he has an AI.
He's like, hey, you have a suit, and we'll call you if we need you.
Right. All right. Yeah. So Spider-Man's doing his thing, trying to fight the bad guys, and I'm trying to talk about like the love. I'm trying to talk about like again, we kind of skim the middle of the movie here, but the climax of the movie is basically you find out that Liz is Vulture's daughter, and Spider-Man is taking Liz out for the homecoming dance, and discovers, oh shit, this is the guy that I've been tracking this whole time.
Until he got to the door, my brain never
put it together.
Yeah. And then as soon as he got to the door, I'm like,
oh, yeah. I kind of too.
Before the door opened, I figured it out, but like right before the door.
The second he walks up to the door, I was like, I knew who was going to answer that door.
He's walking up the door, you're like, wait, who's Liz? Oh.
Yeah. Well, again, Toombs says a few times, like, I'm doing this for my wife, I'm doing this for my daughter, but you just don't
But the thing is they don't.
Oh, my parents are away. He's away.
Yeah, they don't make it. Like Liz doesn't talk about how her dad's gone all the time,
right,
and stuff like that. So you don't. There's no real connection made until
the very end. Yeah, which is good.
They did a really good job.
Yeah, I like that.
Keeping that.
I like that.
Hushed up.
Yeah. So at this point, you've all seen the part in the trailer where Spider-Man's trying to save that barge from. I mean, again, that second trailer shows the entire movie start to finish, where he's trying to prevent that barge from blowing up. Iron Man takes away his suit and says, "You're not worthy," and so he's back to his bagman clothes, running around in sweatpants.
This is more like under locker clothes.
Well, and again, I love the kind of the end fight scene. I was worried that in this, it felt like they killed a couple of villains off, but they reversed almost all of them at the end, and you're like, oh shit. So he gets in this big last fight with, Vulture realizes that he's Spider-Man, they have their big fight, and obviously Spider-Man wins. That's the day. And Spider-Man saved his life. So again, very, very gloss over the plot here, just so we have some point of reference for the rest of the conversation. But
I will say this. I did really like the fact that pretty much all the bad guys survive.
Yeah.
I mean, the one guy got killed, but that was just to establish
the other Shocker
movie's version of it.
Yeah.
Like, I get kind of burned out on the villain always has to die.
Yeah. So, well, that's what I was so worried about. So there was a couple characters in this. There was the Shocker. He gets the guy that has the glove first gets killed, and of
course they dressed him with the same kind of like they made him look
sleeve.
Super like the Shocker. So like when you realize he's the Shocker, and then they kill him, it's just like holy.
Yeah. So then the other guy becomes a Shocker. I'm blanking on the actor's name. I don't have it in front of me. He was in this season, the last couple seasons of Better Call Saul. He's Scorpion. Yeah. And again, it seems like they kill him off.
Saul. Or from Black, my friend.
That too.
He was in like the first 2 seasons, I want to say.
He was awesome.
Because again, it seems like he gets killed in that barge scene, but he comes back at the very end of the movie, and then the post-credit scene that looks like Vulture and Scorpion are going to team up later.
Well, the thing is what I like about this movie, especially with the villains, is you're setting up. I mean, it sets up 3 villains very well in this movie because it focuses on one,
and teases 2. Technically teases 3.
Well, if they're doing the Tom Hardy movie and Tom Hardy doesn't continue, he could continue that mantle too.
Of what?
Venom.
Oh yeah. No, wasn't he supposed to be Venom?
Who?
Tom Hardy?
Yeah, but Cargan can be Venom too.
Oh, I hate the Scorpion Venom shit. Well, Donald Glover, right, is in the movie as well, and he has a pretty small role where he's like kind of a bad guy, but sort of like, hey man, I don't want to be involved. I'm just kind of doing my own thing. He's Prowler. So they.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, they very briefly show a little thing in the bottom. I move with the name too. It's like this.
Isn't he Miles in some kind of cartoon?
I think he's doing the voice in the animated movie they're working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he really wanted to be Miles for a long time, too.
Yeah. So if you're a fan of just, kind of classic Spider-Man villains, and not the big guns, these are like the B-tier villains, but they did a really good job with all the villains, I thought. There's so many, they leave it open enough at the end, I think, where Tony Stark does offer Spider-Man a role, a spot in the Avengers, and he turns him down and says, "I want to go off and be my own man." Now, again, we'll talk our thoughts here in a minute, but one of the big things in this movie that a lot of people, I don't say a lot of people, kind of the one thing the one common complaint I've heard from most people is the level of Iron Man tech in this movie that's in Spider-Man's suit, where it's sort of like, if I do have any complaint, and it's a minor one, Spider-Man is sort of not in control of his own powers through most of the movie.
Early on, I felt like he didn't know what his powers were, and so he was learning about them, which was a little odd because of the what we got out of Civil War was it felt more like a refined Spider-Man.
At the very end, yeah.
And so, but I think that
it's felt like an origin without doing the origin.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that what was really daunting for me was kind of the reliance on the tech and the kind of just ignoring of like Spider Sense.
Well, Spider Sense is gone. They said Spider Sense will not be in this. In this universe. Yeah, okay. He does not have Spider Sense. Yeah.
So. And maybe this is just me looking at the way that I do. I just kind of got the impression that they downplayed the full ability of Spider-Sense because he was still reacting really, really fast to a lot of dangers around him.
I mean, they can always bring it back.
They can always bring it back. And
as far as I know, they're not.
I think that the difficult part with it is how do you show this without without kind of going into like they did in Daredevil, where it's like you see like the sound waves and stuff beat off.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't think they ever need to call it Spider Sense. I don't think they even needed to show it. It's sort of like the thing where the wings are just tearing apart the building and going every which way.
Yeah.
To me, it's completely fine to have Spider-Man doing all kinds of dodging it, just knowing the fact that if he relies more on instinct, he's going to be better at dodging something like that.
Also, with Carol in the movie, it would have been too much, I think.
Without it?
No, with the Spider Sense,
Karen?
And it also and Karen.
Karen, right?
Carol.
I thought it was Carol.
Karen.
No, it's Karen, the AI.
Yeah.
Oh, Karen. I think it would have been too much.
Well, you wouldn't. I think the AI replaces his Spider Sense almost entirely.
It would have been too much for this movie.
She's really crappy at it.
No, but it would have been too much in this movie, I feel like.
No.
So certain things just have to go.
Yeah. No, and again, if the next movie he has completely ditched the tech, short of like the web shooters, like that's fine. Having like kind of an electronic thing to switch between the webbing types, that's okay. I don't mind that. But I don't need an AI telling him what to do.
Okay.
I mean, if they keep it, fine.
If they keep it, I think it just needs to be a little bit more of
well, Jarvis was usually played down.
Yeah.
His AI was usually played down in the movies. It was there, but it wasn't.
Jarvis had a sense of humor.
But it was, well, Karen does too. But it wasn't like overbearing, where I feel like Spider-Man's AI was sort of having to show him how everything works.
Tell her how you feel, Peter.
Yeah.
So I guess my thing is, and this is kind of purely looking at the Spider-Man Civil War stuff, is I don't mind him running around with the tech suit for a movie. I kind of am hoping that events going forward might cause him to be a little more self-reliant. Like, I'm kind of glad that he got the suit back, and I would love to see some of that stuff stick around, but I think other parts of it needs to start being his.
When they show the Iron Spider suit, I was like, oh my God, that thing is hideous. For the love of God, they're not putting him in that, are they? And then he's like, no. And I'm like, oh, thank you. That suit was awful. I mean, maybe intentionally
awful.
Well, they
can even play into it that the suit breaks in the next movie, and then he's trying to call Tony and can't reach him.
So he's got to go back to just a regular...
Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, my point is I don't mind him being given the suit as a starting point, but I think at some point Peter has to take over
Peter has to make his own. He has to create his own suit.
Take over the maintenance of it, or his own tweaks to it.
He doesn't need to make it, but I do want him to tweak it. I want him to fix it. I want him to update it. Because he's a smart... I mean, he's as smart as Tony Stark.
Yeah, that's the thing is that's what I want, is he needs to make his own suit.
That could...
whether or not he borrows stuff that Tony had in there, but he needs to make it his own. And that's you know, while I was watching the movie, and you were saying earlier about the amount of time that you saw Tony and Happy and all that stuff, at times I really felt like I was reading one of those old, you know, Iron Man, Spider-Man team-up issues and stuff like that. But it was a good feeling when I got from, you know, from that stuff. So...
Yeah, I guess we can you know, go around and give general thoughts. I think everyone kind of knows our thoughts.
Telegraphed our thoughts.
Yeah, but let's start with Toby, because we started with Brock last time. Let's start with Toby this time. You know, kind of give a few minutes, and yeah. What do you think?
I liked it.
Because you were really harsh on the Spider-Man movies. You don't like them.
I like them more than you do.
No, which ones?
Are you talking about the Tobey Maguire?
The Tobey Maguire ones.
I don't like them that much. No.
Yeah. You like Amazing a little bit more than I do.
Yeah. Because you hate him with your guts.
I really hate him. Yeah.
I still want to make you watch the second one over with my scenes all cut out. Although I would have to have some stick figure put-ins, like, here's what this should be, but it's not.
I'll watch that, and you can watch my Guardians 2 cut.
That's fine.
Okay.
But you have to do your own cut. I'm not helping you.
I know. I'm going to do it.
All right.
So what do you think?
You know, I was a little more hyped up when I went into it, and I liked it, and that's about it. I'm giving it a good 8 out of 10, I guess. I know most people are giving it 9 and 10s, but I'm giving it like an 8. I don't know why. Maybe
8 is really good.
No, it is a really good movie. It is a really good movie. So don't get me wrong. It just didn't make me want to drop my panties off after. But no, I mean I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I you know I kind of like the new Uncle Ben scene. I kind of
Well, could we talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
They never mention Uncle Ben in this movie?
Yeah, but they have a fill-in for it.
Sure.
Yeah.
But they never mention Uncle Ben. They never mention with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, but they kind of hinted, like, they have this fake Uncle Ben scene for, you know, he actually feels bad for his shop owner, and he realized he made a mistake. That's kind of what that's there for.
Sure, but it's not the origin.
No, it's not,
again.
but that's what it's there for. That's a placeholder.
All we got about Uncle Ben was that Aunt May is going through a rough time. Like,
yeah, they don't.
Like,
yeah,
they don't drop
and
it.
I have no real problem with superhero origin movies because I love to see this shit.
I don't think I would want to see
but
that
not,
again.
No, but not like, again.
The origin that they did in this was perfect. He talks to his friend Ned about getting bit by a spider, like, and you know,
he
real
mentions
briefly,
it, and that's it. Yeah,
you know, and then the stuff with Aunt May, and it's we've already seen him. We already know Spider-Man's story. We've had 2 franchises in less than 15 years.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of Spider-Man. We don't need to see all of this stuff again. Now, would it have been a little cool to have seen how he made?
Would it be 7 Spider-Man movies if you count Civil War in 16 years?
Yeah. You know, would it have been cool to see how he came up with the hoodie costume that we've seen?
No.
You know, maybe briefly, but it doesn't.
Well,
it's not important.
They showed that in Civil War. I mean, that's where you first see that, right?
And I mean, in terms of the hoodie costume, I kind of love the fact that if they ever do go the clone route with Ben Reilly, it makes complete sense that he would grab the hoodie costume.
No. All right, continue, Toby. Continue.
No, I mean, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I sadly fell asleep at the same exact spot both times I went to watch the movie.
When did you fall asleep?
I fell asleep when they did that contest. The spelling bee or whatever contest they were doing.
Okay.
And when did you wake up?
Well, when they do the penis building was the
You
Washington
didn't miss
Monument.
anything then. Yeah, you didn't miss anything.
But I felt there's a block of 5 minutes or 2 minutes I'm missing both times, and I was really pissed off because the second time I literally went in to watch that scene.
You missed Liz telling him to put on his swimming trunks and go swim in the pool with him. And then they go up the elevator. Like, that's probably all you
I
missed.
might have missed the entire swimming pool.
Well, he didn't go to the swimming pool.
No, he
Did you miss
didn't.
the part where he was stuck in the facility? Is that what you missed?
What facility?
Okay, so that's what he missed.
Okay.
He missed about 32 minutes?
What facility?
Or was it
This
37
staff room?
minutes?
No. He jumps on the truck, or he gets in the truck and gets
Knocked out
and sent to, and he gets trapped in
He
that
doesn't
government
get knocked
facility.
out, he knocks
or he
himself
knocks
out.
himself out. Yeah, and he ends up
Wait,
in that
what?
government facility.
So he goes after Vulture, who's stealing some stuff from a truck.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And then Vulture seals the roof behind him, so he's now
He smacks his head and falls
trapped
in the.
in the truck.
That's in the end of the movie.
No.
No,
No,
that's
That's
before
the plane.
Okay. Well, I missed something in this movie twice because I paid money the second time. Well, I did the first time too, but the second time was on purposely to go watch what I missed, and I missed entirely the exact same thing twice. So I was not very happy. Maybe that has something to do with my 8 out of 10. But yeah, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts here. I feel like, look, my original Tobey Maguire ones, I felt like I didn't really care for Spidey and Mary Jane that much, but I liked the villains. Then the Andrew Garfield came out, and I kind of liked the Andrew and Gwen Stacy thing.
Yeah, I liked them
quite
a
a
lot.
bit, and I felt the villains were complete horseshit.
Yep.
And in this one, I felt like finally they got both of them on the right pace.
Absolutely.
So I felt like, it was finally the combination. Vulture was fucking amazing, I thought.
Yep.
I wanted to see, like...
Who would have, again, this kind of goes back to what's great about some of these Marvel movies. Who would have ever thought we'd say, yeah, Vulture was great?
Well, I would have casted the Freddy Krueger guy for Vulture because he was the voice in the Spider-Man cartoon.
Oh,
He kind of
jeez.
looks like him, too.
Wow.
Cartoon
No,
one.
I think Michael Keaton did a fantastic
This is
job.
Well,
this
that's
is
what I
not,
just said. Yeah.
This is not comic Vulture.
Yeah, well, I really like this modern... I'll call him modern Vulture.
Sure.
I now... originally, when there was rumors that Michael Keaton could play Bruce Wayne again in a Batman Beyond version, because I was like, no, fuck no, I want Clint Eastwood. Now I'm like, yeah, you know what? I kind of want to see him do,
You don't want Clint
old
Eastwood
Grumpy.
now.
Yeah, but that was like 10 years ago. So,
Right,
but
right.
now I'm like, yeah, I kind of wouldn't mind Michael Keaton as Batman again, or Bruce Wayne again. So I really, really enjoyed the Vulture. I actually wanted to see about maybe 20 times more Vulture in this movie.
You missed about 5 times of that in the scene you missed, I think.
Well, all right. I really enjoy the John Hughes effect on a lot of these movies lately. It had a huge effect on Power Rangers. I think it had a huge effect on this movie. So,
Well, they have the they have the whole
the
Ferris Bueller scene. And everything,
but even a lot of the school stuff was very much a throwback to it. And I kind of enjoy that. The filmmakers must be fans. I mean, that's what I toss it up to.
Yeah, the director on this, I was looking up the guy, let me get his name again, where he's here, John Watts. He has not really done anything. This is...
Cool. Awesome for him.
Yeah, no, totally. This, I don't,
Yeah.
I love that they get these guys that haven't really done anything big, and then you occasionally get a Fantastic Four situation where you're like, maybe too fast. But no, I'm super happy with this guy. I mean, great movie.
Yeah. Through, I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I hopefully will watch the entire movie. I will probably not pay for it one more time till it comes out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
But yeah,
Charlie,
I'll sure remember more as we go on.
Well, yeah, we'll do once around.
I'll only interrupt Charlie 5 times. When
I've got a couple. Some people sent us their
when you give me the mic and I can't fucking remember half the shit I want to say, you give it to Charlie. I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember. Sorry, Charlie, go on.
That's the way you do it, though.
Because a bunch of people send us their thoughts of the movie over Twitter, so I'll read that after we all go around. Yeah. Charlie?
So this is one of those cases because like every single person I've talked to about this movie is like, what do you think was better, Wonder Woman or Spider-Man? And I stick by my statement that I think Wonder Woman is better. But that being said, this is sort of the perfect, just fun superhero movie to go see. It gets all the core of the characters just right. It feels right. And even like the changes where me a couple of years ago would have been rallying against all. No, as long as you get the core of the characters right, it almost doesn't matter exactly how much you tweak certain things. Like I'm going to say that, as you already kind of covered, the Tekken Spider-Man suit was very different than it actually feels closer to the Amazing Spider-Man that we have in the comics right now because of Parker Industries and that kind of stuff. But that being said, because they got the core of Peter right, it doesn't matter. This is a brand new, like there is no single comic I could point to that I'm like, oh, you want something like the movie? Go read this, because it doesn't exist. It's its own thing, but the core is there. So it is a great new Spider-Man story.
Yeah, absolutely. Any favorite standout characters or parts or anything?
Oh, we've already talked
about him.
Michael Keaton. I every single time, and this isn't even like talking about like when he was in the Vulture suit, but like every single time he was talking in the jacket and just that sense of entitlement having been ripped away from him, which is so core to the Vulture character.
He was just kind of suave and
yeah.
arrogant and cocky in the kind of the working man
and
kind of way.
Like to a degree when he kind of like pulls that Tony Stark card and he's like, how do you think Tony Stark made all his money? And
He's not far off.
Yeah, I know. It
was kind of cool. It was very
so
cool.
Well.
Yeah. And I mean, they did it on purpose because then had Tony in the movie also. And he was kind of an ass, too, in the movie. So I was like, I kind of like seeing Michael Keaton this.
I think what really sums it up is the character doesn't seem like he's a military fighter pilot. But, man, he pulls off wearing that bomber jacket. Like there's no tomorrow.
Well, you know, with Vulture, again, it's a guy with a bunch of wings and feathers and is kind of a goofy-ass costume. But the costume, again, when I saw the first trailer, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this looks
you were
weird.
hating on shit.
They look terrible. But in the context of the movie, I think it looks great. And again, it's a sensible costume that you would have something like that if you're up in the air, because you'd be fucking freezing, right? So it makes sense to wear a jacket like that. There is a logic to the costume design.
Even when you went into his mask was very. This is the green fighter pilot, you know. Like,
I mean, it's kind of like the Iron Man.
It's kind of like the Iron Man, but it had its own feeling. It felt like it was more airline pilot versus I'm a tech guy and I have all these circles and knobs.
Yeah.
And
well, he's got his tech
stuff.
buddy that was doing making everything. But
I enjoyed that scene with Peter though.
Where he's in the car?
Peter, in the car. I really enjoyed that.
That was intense. You know, so my Spider-Man is adult Spider-Man. I mean, Spider-Man in the comics was a kid so briefly and well before any of us were alive, let alone reading comic books. I mean, I like Spider-Man as a kid; it's fine. But my Spider-Man's an adult. I'm sorry, you know. That said, I thought Tom Holland was pretty good in Civil War, but I kind of had a lot of problems with Civil War in general. So I mean, just seeing Spider-Man on the screen, it's like, again, I've seen him in 5-6 other movies. Just seeing him on the screen doesn't do it for me. Like, I like Spider-Man. I would never call myself the biggest Spider-Man fan, but I obviously I like the character. He's a great character. So this movie, I think, did such a better job than obviously the Amazing Spider-Man movies, but it did capture that kind of true comic book essence of Spider-Man more so than the Tobey Maguire movies. Now, I'll stand behind the first one, and I still really like the second one, but there is sort of a kind of splitting the difference between a kid Peter Parker and an adult Peter Parker in the Tobey Maguire movies, especially the second and third one, where I felt like it didn't quite work. Tom Holland is young enough; he looks the part, he plays a kid great. They were, none of them were teenagers, obviously, but they're all teenagers, and they weren't annoying. Like they felt like teenagers, but they weren't just obnoxious as shit. Like everything felt right. It made sense. Like you said, the kind of like the Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller. influence, you could really be felt in this movie.
Like almost every single 80s movie was, I think,
I still haven't watched Power Rangers yet, huh?
I saw Power Rangers.
Oh, you did?
I saw in the theater.
Yeah,
Power Rangers was great.
Yeah.
I mean,
very
again,
similar feel too.
Yeah, not the greatest movie I've ever seen. I'm not a huge Power Rangers.
No,
I'm not a huge Power Rangers fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I really like the Power Rangers movie. So, what I liked about this movie too, it wasn't end of the world giant.
Yeah, I was actually writing as Charlie was talking. I was like, okay, I better write notes. I love the fact that I had no world-ending end for once.
Yeah, for once.
Thank goodness. Just a fucking plane, sure, make a big scene, but no fucking gods and giant fucking creatures.
Which I love. I love that in some movies. But Spider-Man isn't the place for it, right? Spider-Man is not the place for that. And
I think you were just happy they didn't have any cranes.
And in Spider-Man 3 especially, there was with Venom and Goblin's whole thing.
I think the studios just mocked that. If Sam Raimi got to do whatever he wanted to do, I don't think Venom would have been in there.
No.
I think there was just too much shit in there.
There was too many villains in that movie trying to take center stage, because you start out with Sandman and then you end up...
I think that was Sam's movie.
Yeah.
Then he got Sony's other side.
Yeah. And then, then it's like in the middle we get, Goblin going on, Hobgoblin going on, and then we have Venom at the end. It's like... But they're all but Spider-Man and Venom are teaming up at the end. It was too convoluted. Where here we talked about...
You mean Spider-Man and Hobgoblin?
Yeah, Spider-Man and Hobgoblin.
No, that movie, as was already sort of stated, was Sam Raimi had the movie he wanted to make. Then the studio came in and said, "We need you to do this," and he kind of just shoved it all together.
Venom in. Yeah. So this overall, I think really good. Better than I think the last handful of Marvel movies. I definitely like this more than Guardians 2, and I like it more than Doctor Strange. It's funny that the Marvel cinematic movies just blew everything else out of the water, and now I feel that the Marvel cinematic movies are playing second fiddle now to Spider-Man: Homecoming and Logan. I was not expecting this. It's sort of like the Marvel cinematic movies happened. And then every other studio, Warner Brothers, Sony, Fox, they're all like, oh, shit, we can do this. We have to change our method. So you get Wonder Woman, you get Deadpool, you get Logan. You get Logan, right? Which to me are three of the best of the superhero movies that have ever been made. And Spider-Man, is definitely really high up on that list as well. And I think it's funny because I feel like now the Disney and Marvel Cinematics needs to look at those movies and be like, we have to get back to that, because these movies were sort of what the original cinematic movies were like with Thor and Hulk and Cap. It feels like this weird, they almost became too big, and now we need to pull back. They need to pull those movies back. So I really hope they can have this. The comedy in Spider-Man fit the character, where I feel it didn't fit in Doctor Strange, it didn't fit in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. The comedy didn't work. There are times and places, but there was almost no comedy in Logan, and the comedy there was fit the tone and character. You can't cookie cutter these things.
You can't put lighthearted, fun, slapsticky comedy in something that's very dark and serious. You have to have...
I will slightly disagree on the Guardians thing, because I still think that was actually fine. But yeah, I agree on the other stuff, though.
Yeah. So, very good job, Sony. Now, look... I don't necessarily need a Carnage and Venom and Black Cat and Black Widow movie.
Don't forget
Silver Sable. Right, not Black Widow. Silver Sable, I meant.
Hell yeah.
You did Spider-Man. You want to have a couple...
Someone's just playing a bad joke on me. This is not for you, Ryan. Someone out there knows I just like these characters. We're going to announce it, have Toby be happy, and Toby going to either butcher a movie or never come out with it.
Yeah, Sony...
They probably shouldn't. They probably shouldn't.
They probably shouldn't. Sony, you have a good Spider-Man movie. Maybe make another one in a couple of years. I don't need 5 or 6 Spider-Man cinematic movie universe.
Don't
universe.
It should have never been a Sinister Six movie. Sorry.
Well, no. That's
maybe
never,
a Spider-Man Sinister Six.
That's
movie,
never going to happen.
No,
that's not going to happen.
There's no way. Talking about it.
Nah, there's no way.
Well, that's because they're trying to figure out how to monetize the license as much as they can, realizing that they can't. The contract for the Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be very, very specific, which means they can't monetize more movies in the franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which at that point, they might as well just focus on how, and especially because this was something I kind of realized. I love this movie. I don't know how many years they can do a younger Peter Parker before it will naturally.
Not many.
Yeah.
They probably want to shove one more out very quick.
Mm-hmm. Well, you want to do one where it's his senior year, like
and that's what I'm expecting. You're going to get the senior year, and then you're going to get a college year or two. Yeah. But I mean, it's going to.
You're going to get one more like 80s version, and then you're going to get the Van Wilder version.
So if I'm throwing this in my Marvel Cinematic Movie list, which I don't know if I'm going to, but top half definitely, top third probably.
Yeah.
Brock, what are your thoughts? And then we're going to hit up some of our Twitter reviews.
No, I think everyone's hit all the key, or a lot of the key points. Michael Keaton's Vulture was amazing. Tom Holland. I liked him in Civil War, so he just did even more amazing stuff with the character, in this film. I loved Aunt May's representation. Melissa Tomei did an amazing job of kind of a more modernized, cool aunt.
The last second of the movie.
I had some weird thoughts about Hot Aunt May. Like, either some Tony Stark thoughts, and then they were like, this is weird.
The last 3 seconds of the movie, I was like, okay, that was really funny.
That was really great.
That was really funny.
Overall, I mean, little things here and there that kind of, bothered me, but not enough to really make the movie any less. Great, entertaining film. Much like Charlie, it's not... I like Wonder Woman more than I like this movie. But for me, I think it's because we've already had so much Spider-Man in the past, 15 years versus we've only had...
Well, we got to see, we've had good Spider-Man, right? We haven't had, I like the DC movies, but I will cop to, or I will submit to general consensus that we haven't had a good DC cinematic movie.
Yeah.
So Wonder Woman, I think, showed that it can be done with the studio. And Spider-Man, it's like, well, cool, you made the kind of the third great Spider-Man movie out of six.
I think setting the tone with that, having that John Hughes, teen angst movies tone to it for the Peter Parker stuff was perfect, and having him as kind of this this superhero who's learning, but nobody's teaching him anything, but they tell him that they're going to teach it. It really felt like a good mix of both Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the movie. So, do I want them to keep this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah, I think they did a really good job just tying into the other Marvel movies with the Avengers movie, with Civil War. One of the best things at the end was, Happy's like, I've been carrying this ring around in my pocket since 2008.
Someone asked about that. We'll get to that question. Let's continue, but I'm curious about that scene. Was that just a throwaway scene, or is that something you think they're going to follow up on?
Which one?
Well, prior to this movie, they had established, I think in Civil War, that Pepper and him had broken up, and he was in a dark place because of it. So this movie
sets that back.
Yeah. I think course corrects that whole thing and kind of reaffirms Iron Man's support base, basically.
How much money do you want for the next movie? No, we're not going to do that. Years later, actually, okay, we're fine.
Well, as I said, I'm pretty sure it was a different negotiation house once it's under Sony.
Yeah.
And I think despite people's dislike from what I've heard of the after credit scene, the last one, I thought that was that's my kid's favorite scene in the entire movie.
The Captain America.
Because it was perfect. It was the third time, right?
There was something on Twitter. I don't remember if it was comicbook.com, Newsarama, but they said they're on the Blu-ray, they've already announced there's going to be a ton of Captain America PSAs.
Oh, good.
Yeah, those are real funny.
Because you had the PSA.
My favorite one was the gym class one where he says, "Oh, the gym teacher," and he points to the right, and the gym teacher standing to the left. Like that was just a really funny scene.
And I like the throwaway line immediately after that, where I think he's some sort of war criminal now.
yeah.
But you had it in the gym, you had it in detention, and then you have it at the end, and he even makes fun of the PSAs himself at the end when he goes, "How many more of these do we have to do?"
Well, and it's a little. I mean, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but you get a little bit of Ferris Bueller in that because the end of Ferris Bueller, he's like, "You're still here?" At the end of the credits, he's like, "Wait, go home. The movie's over. Go home." Like it felt similar, like a similar sort of joke.
Hughes, man.
Well, they made the same joke in Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
In Deadpool, at the after credits, when they announced Cable, he does the same joke as Ferris Bueller. Which again, it's a great joke. So
that guy is fucking phenomenal, man. I still go back every couple of years to rewatch his movies.
Oh yeah,
man.
I love John Hughes. Yeah, so oh, sorry. Continue, and then I'm going to read some of these.
I mean, I think I think this is a really good movie. It's well worth. Seeing it in theaters is really is. I think you should.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely very entertaining. I mean, I would say it's good for kids. It's a good Spider-Man movie for kids.
I don't think there's a lot of.
There's not really very much in the movie that's adultish. I mean, there are hints at things that are adultish, but no, it's very toned down, but very well done.
Yeah.
So.
Very, very. I mean, there is brief death and obviously a little bit of violence, but there is no gore. There's no nothing overly violent. There's no sexuality at all in the movie.
I mean,
the most minor.
Like Tony had to make his comment about Aunt May,
but I mean,
funny though.
But there's no,
that was really funny. That was kind of cute.
I think you could take pretty much kids of any age to see this movie. I think it's pretty. I'm not a parent, so what am I going to say? No, there really isn't. Yeah, it's very mild.
I love the
but still really good.
The sandwich guy.
Yeah,
like, how's your mom? And he's, how's your daughter?
Yeah.
I love that.
That's funny. Made 117 million domestic. What did it take international? I don't see the number here. 250 worldwide. So great, a terrific opening weekend. Obviously, so we're looking at
any other Spider-Man opening weekend except for Spider-Man 3.
Except for 3, yeah. So we're looking at at least the
start of the garbage.
700, 750 million, if not closer to $1 billion.
Do you think with those numbers, money wise, that maybe Fox will go? All right, maybe we can team up with Marvel also.
I'm just convinced now that Sony's not gonna.
Well, I think Sony's gonna pull away, right? I mean, I think that's the thing.
There was a lot of indication that Sony was going to try and pull away, but I think when you have numbers like this, it might give them pause.
Oh, just because it's connected?
Because this blew away anything they were doing on their own.
Yeah.
Do you think they go, this is still our brand, we can do this on our own?
That's my thought. Well, again, you have 4 movies coming in. They're not going to have any. None of the Marvel cinematic characters are going to be in a fucking Carnage movie or a Silver Sable movie.
I don't even understand why they're making those movies, though.
But
is it just to bleed it out?
Yes, exactly. Because
these are not characters that they deserve movies. I'm sorry, I love these characters, but they don't deserve movies.
No, they get this Spider-Man movie, and now they have 4 movies where they could be like from the guys that brought you Spider-Man Homecoming, right? That's how this works, and that's what I'm really afraid of.
All of those movies. If those movies do phenomenally well, they might try and pull Spider-Man back into their own thing and end the agreement with Marvel. But that being said, if the Spider-Man movies are the only ones they're making this kind of money on,
as much as I love Black Cat, a Black Cat Silver Sable movie is not. I mean, so difficult for that to succeed.
It's not be a movie,
like
I'm
Deadpool,
sorry.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was successful past anyone's wildest imaginations, but at least I understand.
Yeah.
I even kind of understand Carnage.
No.
But like a horror movie, like not a super I don't know what they do with a Carnage movie that's going to pull in the numbers they need. A Carnage movie that pulls in 400 million worldwide is amazing. That's not enough. That's not what they need, though, right? I mean, these movies have to make like $1 billion to be profitable. Apparently,
the thing is, we need to keep building, right? I mean, Spider-Man: Homecoming did a great job giving us Vulture.
Well, I have no problem with
Scorpion,
good
Shocker,
Spider movies for the next 3-4 movies.
Prowler.
You know, everything else.
If we get a senior year where we introduce a couple of more, right? We tease a little bit more, and you build up to this, and then you can have like Venom come in, but he's not the main.
But you don't need solo movies.
You don't need a solo movie of Venom, right?
There's no way.
But having Black Cat and Silver Sable come into a Spider-Man movie, I can understand. But
those are tough characters to put into a movie where kids in high school.
The thing is, they're tough characters for kids in high school. This isn't like a second or third movie. This is like fourth, fifth, or sixth, and it's like by the time you get there, is the interest still there? Did you still do a good enough job?
The thing about these movies for me, and I understand they have the rights, I understand they can make these movies, but it also seems pretty clear that it's not like it's going to have Tom Holland making an appearance in it. It's not like it's going to be tied to all this other stuff they're doing. And I don't see them going back to the agreement with Sony and Disney and stuff to be able to share this. That's only good for a certain amount of movies right now.
Yeah. Well, Silver Sable could be the Spider-Man Homecomings universe of S.H.I.E.L.D., basically. Her and her little patsies.
But the thing is their agreement makes them have to be their own thing.
Yeah.
And
I'm just trying to
I think it would be a mistake.
Possibly, you know.
I think it would be a mistake for Sony at this point to be like, okay, we've got the sort of blessing because of Spider-Man Homecoming. We can immediately pull away from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, and bleed all the money that we can, which we'll throw up in the face.
Because of that, depending on what happens with the first quote-unquote, I don't want to call it a spin-off because it's not really a spin-off, but the first sort of solo property that they try to do, if the only thing making money is the Spider-Man movies connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I'm sure they will extend the contract.
Yeah.
If they realize, people are going to see our movies and spending a massive amount of money, and when it's not tied to that contract, then we could have some trouble.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to read some quick reviews here from you guys on Twitter. And we'll have some comments as we go through, of course. Cisco says, I like the movie, but didn't like how much of it gets attributed to Tony Stark. Parker practically only creates the web fluid, which, again, common complaint. One I hope they pull away from in a sequel.
I think love that web fluid scene.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's good.
I do think it's also a security blanket right now in this movie. It's like Force Awakens is like, let's make sure that everybody's in.
Get it right.
Yeah, and this one I feel like also like, let's fucking throw Tony in there. Let's make sure all these Marvel heads are not going, hey, it's another Spider-Man movie not coming. I think that's a first movie thing.
Yeah. Lucas says, 2 thumbs up. My mom even liked it. Although she thought Tony Stark is going to be tired of being Iron Man in so many movies. Well, as far as I know, he's got 2 left. Avengers 3 and 4. I think that's it. I don't know that they've signed him to anything else.
Well, as far as I know, they haven't signed him, but he keeps talking about how...
He wants to do more?
Well, how do I put it? He seems like he's aware that at some point he's going to have to walk away, but he also wants to make sure that it will live past him walking away.
Yeah. Well, great thing about Iron Man.
Yeah, the suit is not him.
The suit is not him, and if they want to take a cue from the comics and make him the AI, you could have robotic, hologram Tony Stark forever. He could do the voice till he dies, right?
Yeah, and that would be just easy money for him.
Yeah. Keith says, while purists hate this, I love that they are using the supporting cast to remix the mythos. Ned, Flash, and MJ aren't what we know. But we've seen the Spidey story twice before. Reimagining his friends is the best way to defy expectations by keeping Peter recognizable.
Yeah.
And again, this is a common thing. I have no problem with Miles Morales. I enjoy the comics quite a bit. But throwing Miles Morales out as Spider-Man is a bit of a tougher sell. Not because he's black, because he's not the character that people know, right?
Yeah.
They've done really good jobs in both the Marvel and DC movies about, as he says, remixing the supporting cast. And in the comics as well. When they've done it at Marvel, it hasn't quite worked, replacing the main characters. At DC, though, they've really changed up the supporting cast of these books to really good effect. And I think it's a great way to introduce the all these characters were white and mostly male. It's a great way to introduce new people to the mythos and really expand out your base of people while still having the thing to come back to that people sort of expect. I think it's the best of both worlds. That said, very excited for the Black Panther movie, but I mean, he's always been black, right? I mean, that's not the thing. I'm not against
except in one What If comic.
Yeah. I'm not against a Miles Morales movie. I think that's a logical step to take 3 or 4 movies down the road if they want to go that route.
It'd be cool. I mean, it'd be cool if Peter is an adult at that point, and then you have
Miles
a new
comes
kid.
in.
Yeah, I kind of would love that.
Totally.
I think
it could mirror a lot of the relationship we just saw in Homecoming. That would be a really smart thing.
It would be freaking great. I actually really love what they did with the supporting cast. The Flash thing threw me off a little bit, but
I thought he was funny.
Yeah,
I loved him.
The Flash thing is you don't have to be a jock to be an asshole. Anybody can be an asshole, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it made sense. Like, I feel like they actually put some thought into updating the supporting cast in a modern way. So I feel like, look, maybe the flyover states it doesn't look like this, but the schools here, there's like all kinds of colors.
He's in the Bronx. He's going to be like one of the very few
schools on the other side. There's all kinds of colors. So I feel like, look, this is what America, at least on the sides, look like now. So I feel like that's a good modernization of
if they showed Peter Parker in the Bronx and everyone was white, you'd be like, that's not the Bronx. Exactly. I'm sorry.
Even if he could be swinging around all that, I'd be like, yep, no, that's not real.
Let's see.
I also loved the scene when the dude just told him to do a flip.
Oh, that was really funny. That was really funny. Yeah. Repairman Jack says, great, but I honestly spent half the movie wondering if he had spider sense. Although the second half, it becomes pretty obvious. I mean, I think he thinks he does. They say he doesn't.
Again, I think
not a killer, but
I think they couldn't figure out a good way to show it.
Yeah, again, I think it was too much for this movie.
Yeah.
It was like, save it for a next one if we even need to.
Right. Tyler says, one of the best superhero movies. Finally, a Marvel villain that is interesting and isn't bad for the sake of being bad.
Yes!
Yeah, I never would have expected Vulture would be on a top villain list. Like, what the fuck? Look, I respect...
Hold on. At this point in time, Vulture is beating Doom as a good cinematic villain.
Vulture is...
They keep fucking Doom in the ass.
Top 3 Marvel cinematic villain at this point. Like, it's ridiculous. Like,
awesome.
I think
it's awesome.
Me
that
too.
Just means if you put some thought into it and, you write a good character, you can make good things out.
Yeah.
Even if the character is a C-tier character.
Yep.
No offense to Vulture, but,
Well, this goes back to what we were saying. The idea of a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie seems ridiculous, but it could be awesome.
It's quite possible, yeah.
Right?
It could be
but
the
it's
greatest movie all time.
But it's like... I can't see the path
every
to
time,
get
Every
there.
time you keep saying Black Cat and Silver Sable, I'm like, how are they?
I think they're doing 2 separate movies, isn't it?
I don't
it's not
know.
2 together.
I don't know.
Like, I keep thinking they're trying to 2 broke girls it or something. Like, that would just be bad.
I just don't know how they get there.
You never know. Maybe they have a completely new spin on it.
Yeah. Problematic Cartoon says Spider-Man Homecoming was pitch perfect, the most charming superhero movie since Guardians.
Really? It was very charming.
Yeah.
That was really? He goes with that?
Pitch perfect?
That stupid trailer.
There was a trailer in front of it. Oh, can I also say I saw the trailer for Dark Tower, and that might be one of the worst looking movies I've seen in a long, long time. Jumanji looks dumb as hell.
What?
Dark Tower looks
Come on!
bad.
Are you serious?
Jumanji looks dumb as hell, but it looks fun.
Jumanji looks dumb as hell. Dark Tower looks bad.
I still want it to be good, though.
Toby, Jumanji, dumb as hell. I didn't say it looks bad.
Funny as hell.
Dumb as hell.
Yeah, but that's part of the charm.
Fine.
That's part of the charm.
Dark Tower looked bad. Anyone? Dark Tower? That looked really bad.
I'm still going to go see it, and I still hope it's good.
I know nothing about it, but Matthew McConaughey, is he actually the devil? If he is, I'm actually kind of intrigued by that casting.
Yeah.
The thing for me is I've never really gotten into those series, but it felt... It felt like they were showing us a trailer for 2 movies that somehow they smashed together.
I didn't. I
don't know anything about the story.
It looked like Last Action Hero or something.
Can we go back to Jumanji?
that was
You
a
seriously
fun
don't
movie.
like that? I thought that was like a... Look, I would have said...
It looks really stupid.
I would never say I want to see another Jumanji movie, but I that take on it, I'm like, you know what? I'd be down.
It looks like a dumb, fun movie.
Like very fun, though.
It looks like a dumb, fun movie.
A lot of the Rock movies are not fucking Oscar movies.
Right.
But they're fucking fun.
Let's wrap this up. We're almost done.
I can't believe you don't...
Steven says, I felt like another Ant-Man, just had higher expectations, and they were met or exceeded. A fun movie I could rewatch anytime. Dan says builds the strongest cast of all the Marvel movies, of all the Marvel films to date. Which and Alexis follows that up with Vulture, best Marvel Cinematic Universe villain. Again, you're right. Crazy. The Vulture's on that list.
He's beat
that's
Thanos
nuts.
and Ronan and Loki.
Okay, Dennis asked. Well,
I don't know
not
about
Loki.
Loki.
Loki's top tier. Dennis asked the question: rank the Spider-Man movies.
Oh,
I need a little bit more time, but I'm going to say 2, Homecoming, 1, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2. I need more time. I need to see this again.
so-
I really like Spider-Man 2.
all right. Maybe I'll use the Patreon money to watch the movie again. So don't fucking fall asleep on that one scene.
That's top to bottom, also, by the way.
So I think for me, it would be Homecoming 1, 2.
3, Spider-Man 2, just straight down.
Amazing Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2 is at the bottom because I haven't watched it.
I'm so torn on Amazing 2 because half of the movie I completely, utterly hate, and the other half I'm totally fine with. So I'm
that
like,
should be your exact middle point.
I guess so.
And the ones you absolutely like.
You know,
despise go afterwards.
I personally really want to put Homecoming at the very top, but because of how much Marvel Iron Man influences in this, I would actually probably give it to 2.
I love 2.
See, I'm not with you there. I think I love this one way more than 2.
Okay.
But I think 2 actually deserves to be on top because, as a pure Spider-Man movie, without Tony Stark kind of, being in there and all that influence of the Marvel Universe, I think 2 maybe should be on top.
Okay.
But personally, I like Homecoming better, so that's a close second. Then I'd probably go Amazing Spider-Man, and then is Amazing 2 at the middle then, hopefully, and then 3 at the bottom.
Yeah.
Where'd you put 1?
After Amazing.
You really didn't like 1, right?
It's so slow. I probably put it under Amazing 1, I think.
Before Amazing 2.
Who cares, dude? Let's go on.
Charlie?
I agree with your list right now, Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I love the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie, but I kind of walked out of it with I love that movie, but I listed 3 things at the time where I'm like, this is what they got wrong.
If they just put Goblin not in a mask, I think I would have loved that movie. I think that Power Ranger thing just threw me off so much.
And then I went to 2, and I'm like, they fixed
everything
in my list.
Yeah, I love 2. I thought Doc Ock was great.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's end on this
really
one. This is from Jason. No, we won't end on this one, but this is from Jason. He says, terrible, no chemistry, no love interest, embarrassing twist at the end with a villain, costumes seem more powerful than Spider-Man, and poor CGI. So there you go. Not everyone loved this movie.
He's talking about Spider-Man 3, right?
Maybe. But let's end up with this one from Jesse. We had a bunch of questions, but not about Spider-Man. We'll get to that stuff next week.
Point fast. We answer every question.
We'll attempt.
He says, we're still trying to figure out his powers. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I think I'm reading this backwards.
You can read questions backwards? That's pretty impressive.
Is this the Zatanna podcast?
This is weird. Sometimes on Twitter, it replies the wrong way, but it doesn't make sense. I feel like I'm missing a tweet here. Oh, here we go. Compared to the other Spider-Man movies, it was refreshing not seeing another origin movie. It went right in and showed us who Peter is.
Yes.
While still trying to figure out his powers and finding his place. Yes. The high school scene took me back.
Yes.
And it was every bit as funny as his comic counterpart.
Yes.
Which I agree with. Funny, but not over the top joke constantly.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, nobody said penis in this movie, thank God.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, Penis Parker.
Oh, yeah,
Penis Parker. They said penis all sorts of times.
I thought you were. Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
The Vulture was pretty good. Human villain who just wanted to support his family. And again, I agree with that.
I think it's one of the funniest uses of the word porn I've seen in a while.
Oh,
that was a great scene.
Watching porn? And again, the jokes felt accurate they felt natural. Yeah, they didn't feel forced. They didn't feel like, there's a bunch of 40-year-old guys writing these teenagers, it felt real, but it didn't feel obnoxious. Really good. Yeah, super happy. Hope you guys like the movie. If you didn't, there's 19 other superhero movies coming out, so I'm sure you'll like some of these. If you have any other thoughts or you want to hear our thoughts some more, go on the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/geekbox. That's a Comic Conspiracy and Geekbox Facebook group. You can join us there. And all sorts of people talking about the movie and thoughts. We also posted that Scott Snyder interview up there, direct link if you need to get that. We're going to wrap up now. We're still scheduled to do random picks. We have some stuff we're doing tonight with the store move and everything. Our next few episodes are going to be a little weird. We'll be doing them, but they may not be as long as a traditional episode.
Why don't we just tweet out our random picks this week?
Maybe I could do that. The traditional. Why don't we do? I'll do a Facebook post. I'll put up a Facebook post tonight in the group, and we can all write a book in the next tonight or tomorrow. Because of the move, because of a bunch of stuff, again, our episodes are never meant to be 2 hours long, but they seem like they always are now. So we maybe...
Has anybody complained?
Me?
Has anybody of significance complained?
Me? They might be slightly... Leanne, when I don't
talking about the guy with the key with the beholder.
Leanne, when I don't get home till 11 o'clock at night. But once the move's in and once we're settled at the new place...
We're going back to 2 hours?
Back to our... Well, if Bryce is on, yeah, sure.
How long are we going right now?
Only an hour and change. Yeah, hour 20. So
okay.
That's short. That's short for these days. Jesus. So let's thank our good friends at Patreon. Julian Titus has the Nerds of All Pants podcast at pixelbit.com. Ryan Hess has Blowhards, a video game podcast.
Does he not have Preach anymore?
I think he's still doing Preach, but Blowhards is the one he's pimping now. It's his video game podcast, blowhards.libsyn.com.
Follow him on Twitter for great pawn shop and stories. They're great.
Ryan, I like you, man, but Region Free Gaming was an excellent title. I think you should just stuck it out with that, dude. I'm sorry, these rebrandings, man, make it hard to follow, dude.
All new Ryan Hess now.
Yeah. You gotta pick one and stick with it, buddy.
Jody Lawson is canon, the Triad Comics Anthology at triadcomicstudios.com. Our good friends Manoa Place, Sam Chea, Talon Bray, Craig Anderson, and Joe Duff. Thank you guys all very, very much. A couple of you guys are our top-tier backers. You've got some graphic novels on the way to you for the last couple of months. We owed you a few.
That's
so
what I have to ship out this next
those are coming soon. So be on the lookout for that. Let's talk about all the random crap we talk about in the episode. Don't forget to go and let me know what you think of that Scott Snyder interview. And more importantly, let Scott Snyder know what you think of that Scott Snyder interview. Because I'd love to have him on again.
He already said he wants to be on again.
Well, I said, hey, at the end, when Metal's over... If you want to come back on,
he just tweeted today.
I know. But when we were talking, I said, when Metal's over, if you want to come back on.
Can he be on with all of us?
Can he just let him finish fucking saying what he's just going to say? What is he going to say?
I said, if he wants to be on at the end, we could do like a wrap up on Metal.
Yeah, but what did he say?
He said, we'll look into it. So
really?
Yeah. So fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see what his schedule is. And
will he know you at that time still?
Hopefully.
Okay. Will we go to a convention where you go and ask a question and then, he goes, oh, hey, Ryan.
But only after he hears his voice.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't even know you visually.
Comic Conspiracy Podcast.com. That's where you can find all our episodes as well as Geekbox.net. Please rate and review us. The Comic Conspiracy Podcast at Geekbox.net is where you can send us a long-form question. We get to those occasionally. Patreon.com/ComicConspiracy. Again, you can kick us a few bucks. And is beyond anything else at this point, kick us a few bucks to the podcast. That money eventually also goes to help us move the store. So if you would love to throw us
coffee and movie tickets,
couple extra bucks, you guys get some money, and the store gets money.
Right now we have the GoFundMe. Right now we have the Bryce is Right T-shirt.
Yes,
the Patreon. There are many ways that you can help us out. We're having a sale coming up.
I'm getting all of that. We still have...
Let the man talk!
I got my outro. I got them all planned. Yes, the Bryce is Right shirt is out there. It's on T.
People are wearing it.
On eBay, you could buy the penis shirt. That's the first edition of the T-shirt.
It's not T-Fury. It's T-Public. Is it T-Public?
Teespring.
It's Teespring. That's what it's called. There's like 19 of these companies. I forget what they're called. Teespring. Search for Bryce is Right, as well as GoFundMe. You can donate some money directly to the store to help us for the store move. We have 2 weeks left till we close, and then a week after that, we'll be opening a new location. We're about halfway to our goal, which is awesome. So thank you guys all very, very much for kicked us a few bucks in there.
I don't thank you at all. You planned this shit.
Digital.comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can go and pick up some digital comics from us. Conspiratorbrock.com. I can talk.
Yeah.
That is Brock's blog and video pull list. You can watch him on there. Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension, that's Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. And Etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. That is my wife, Leanne's Etsy store. You can go on there and pick up some art. She just did a Haunted Mansion changing portrait.
The Medusa lady,
Medusa one, yeah. So
looks really good.
She's doing a bunch of Halloween stuff. She's going to be doing a Halloween con in San Jose. So she's doing a bunch of Halloween-themed stuff for that. As the popular tweet recently that I saw was... It's already July. Can I start putting on my Halloween decorations? And there's the man with the dancing pumpkin head from that's local. That's KQED, I think. That's from a local dance party Halloween thing that they had here one year. And that animated GIF is now super popular, and I love it. I love that it's from here local. It's awesome.
Yeah, that was completely and utterly random.
Oh, it's so good. Ryan, everyone's seen this GIF. It's a guy in the black bodysuit with the pumpkin head dancing. It's the best GIF ever.
So does everyone just wait for Diamond solicitations for Halloween costumes, and then they go, "Oh, we can post this GIF now"?
Oh, the Diamond Halloween costumes were in February.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, months ago, yeah. Ryan Higgins, Ryan Brocksager, Larson, Bryce, Toby XI, Insanity and Chaos, Comics Con Store. Those are the Twitters. Follow us, please.
You can also follow Bryce Larsen Quotes.
Bryce Larsen at Bryce Brief
Bryce
Quotes.
is right.
No, this is Bryce Brief Quotes.
Oh.
I think that's the official one. Geekbox Comedy Button, Good Job Brain, All Talk Podcast, Manga Machinations. And yes, we're having a sale very soon. You can look in the Facebook group, or you can look on our website for info on that. Again, we'll talk all about the store move in the next 2 weeks. A lot more info to come. Thank you, everyone that's kicked us a couple bucks. And just come in and support the store and buy some stuff. And yeah, the big sale. Come help us clear stuff out. Less stuff to move. Thank you guys very much. We'll catch you next week.